Hey everybody, you are now tuned into The Blackout, shining a light on Black excellence, activism, and culture on Afro Vibes Radio, the #1 online internet radio station with your girl Taquila. Today we have a very special guest, real estate investor and stockbroker, Mr. Brother Darrell Muhammad. Thank you so much for coming into the studio today.
All right, well, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Amazing. And I also had the opportunity to catch your Facebook Live that you do. It's called Financial Freedom Fridays, I believe.
Well, today is Financial Freedom Fridays.
It was so great. I really loved it. It really kind of gave you that little inspiration in the morning to start your day and really look at things. One of the things that I really liked that you said was you can have money and still not have freedom, which is very true. And I think that's something that we can apply to a lot of the issues we have going on. Quick example, like with the NFL, a lot of people think, if I don't play, I'm going to lose out on something, but sometimes your morality has to override those other things so you can acquire the freedom that you deserve. So thank you for that. That stuck with me.
That's what I'm here for.
Amazing. So just to go ahead and start off, introduce yourself and tell us about your background in real estate and investing and being a member of the Nation of Islam.
Okay. All right. We'll give you the Cliff Note version of it. All right. Well, thanks again for having me on. I'm excited to share with the audience whatever I can of my 30 plus years on this journey. My name is Darrell Muhammad, real estate investor, mentor, coach, trainer. Been in sales and marketing all my career ever since I graduated from Texas Southern University in 1990. Been in sales and marketing, network marketing. Been trained by the best of the best. Was a stockbroker for one of the top 4 Wall Street firms in America. Did that for 6 years until I pursued my passion of real estate investing. So I got out of becoming a stockbroker to get full time in real estate and start that desired and start that career.
What actually made you want to do real estate?
Well, I was 16 years old, and those infomercials started coming on TV. It was in 1980, and I got the bug. It bit me. I started seeing the lifestyle they promoted on those infomercials, different from what they show now, but bottles and models and planes and boats and all that kind of stuff. And you can imagine a black boy 16 years old seeing bottles and models. So that's it. I want that. I want to have that lifestyle. If that's what you get, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. So I started watching those infomercials and got hooked on the possibility that real estate investing brings, and I just watched them over and over and over and over every time they came on, all throughout the day. Every weekend I used to watch them, and then I started going to real estate seminars and dragging my dad, and I got my first real estate course in 1983. So that started the ball rolling. It hasn't stopped.
And I also know that you mentioned on your Facebook Live that there aren't as many African American stockbrokers.
Yeah.
Kind of give us a little description of what the stockbroker does and why we need to get more into that field.
Well, I don't know if we should get more into that field, but what a stockbroker does, to make it simplified, it's really a salesperson. Because when I went to TSU, I wanted to become a stockbroker, so I said, okay, well, I'll major in finance, right? But then I find out you don't need a finance degree to be a stockbroker. You might need a finance degree to analyze portfolios or analyze businesses and things of that nature, but not to be a stockbroker. So I changed my major to marketing. But what a stockbroker does is basically sells all the different instruments on Wall Street. Everything that Wall Street sells, a stockbroker can sell if they're licensed. Of course, you have to be licensed to be able to sell those products. And they sell those products to individuals or corporations or businesses. So therefore, they have to do an assessment and an analysis to make sure that it's a good fit. They call it you have your fiduciary responsibility as a stockbroker. You're the one with the knowledge, not the investor. So you have to make sure that it's a good fit, meaning that it fits a lot of different criteria and standards, but it fits, help them achieve their goals and objective financially.
Does investing in stock actually help people grow their finances?
Yeah, it helps to grow. And see, one thing we have to understand, sisters, is that the way that the system is set up, and we'll talk about retirement, is not for you to live solely off of one source of income in retirement.
Yeah.
right? It's supposed to be Social Security supplemented by retirement, your 401k plan, or some kind of retirement program, right? And anything else you would do, right? So it helps because it's supposed to help assist those other sources of income.
Okay, good. Because I know I've always been interested in investing in stock, but they don't really teach you. That's something to go out and really learn and understand for yourself. So I think some people find it challenging, and when they don't know, they don't even try. You know?
Yeah.
But that would be a great way to have, additional income, as you said. And before we continue on to our financial literacy conversation, tell us a little bit about you being a member of the Nation of Islam.
All right. Well, that's been the best thing that I've ever done. I've been a member now for 26 years. By God's grace, I attended the Million Man March, the Million Family March, and things of that nature. But sister, I would just simply say the Nation of Islam is a customized prescription by God for the black man and woman in America, right? And those of us who believe in God would say that we believe that God is the number one physician, right? And he prescribes medicine for the healing of a person, the total healing of the person, right? To get them back to what they should have been and what we should be as a person, as a people, as His creation, right? So our unique journey here in America is one like never ever seen before in the annals of history. So it only behooves God to be the prescriber of that medicine, and it to be specifically customized for our condition. And that's what the Nation of Islam has brought to the black man and woman of America and oppressed people around the world, the exact prescription that can heal us from any spiritual ill that we've been affected by. And that's what it has done. And we know of, a few of them that's internationally known. Nation of Islam is the same religion that Malcolm was a part of, and Muhammad Ali, and a lot of others that we may not know of, but that's what it is, and that's what it does. And it's the exact prescription. I have to stress that. It's the exact prescription. You can have cancer and you can take painkillers, right? So you don't feel the cancer, you don't feel the pain from the cancer, but it doesn't heal the cancer. Yeah. You still die from the cancer, right? So God is not gonna bring us something that will kind of sort of help us out and alleviate the pain, because that's not what God does. He comes to heal, right, and to restore. So that's what the nation does.
Now, I do know a lot of times in the African American community, Christianity has such a strong presence. So we tend to believe if you don't follow this, religion specifically, then basically, you're going to hell, whatever they want to say about it. But what do you feel like the nation, or how do you feel like the nation is just as influential as Christianity or more?
Well, you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, right? And if you look at the history of the Nation of Islam, it has done things that no other religion has done as far as in our community and for us as a people, right? And only a fool would argue facts, right? So that, the facts are there. The facts are there. Just example, the Million Man March, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called for 1 million, 2 million men show up on a weekday. Not sponsored by any major, or not sponsored by anybody, right? For a man who America hates and the media hates, right? For him to pull that off, right? A man that don't do marches. It's not like he's a civil rights leader, and that's part of our agenda, marches. He don't do marches, So I just tell those that beg to differ and like to be argumentative, and they're satisfied and comfortable in their religious dogma, right? I tell them, okay, well, go to your scholars and ask them, why would God bless this man to be successful with the Million Man March if he's contrary to what, the evidence show that he is? Yeah, that's for the scholars, not for believers. Or I call them worshipers.
That's true.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of knowledge to worship, but you need a lot of knowledge if you call yourself a scholar. If you want to say you're a student of religion or student of Quran or Bible.
Yeah, and I know with my dad, he was a part of the Nation of Islam as well when I was a younger girl.
All right.
And the difference that I notice is I do feel like when you follow Minister Farrakhan, it's more catered to helping the black community versus just praying for us. They actually take action, which is a lot that we don't really see, in the black community, people taking action so we can be progressive. So that's the thing that I do respect about it. What actually captivated you when you initially joined?
Well, sister, it came from prayer. I'm originally from San Francisco, grew up in an integrated society, middle class black, so I had white friends and didn't live in the ghetto and in the hood and all that kind of stuff. That's a blessing. But just to give you the backdrop, so when I came to Houston because I wanted to have the black experience, because I've been living in a integrated mixed culture for so long. And so I wanted to come here and go to school and have the black experience. So I came here, and like I say, ever since 16 I had that aspiration. So now I'm 21, and I come here, and I remember driving right past Wheeler Baptist Church, and I prayed to God. I said, God, if we as black people in America are inferior by nature, then let me know. So I won't have these grandiose aspirations and think I can have anything that the next man have, black or white or indifferent, right? Regardless of the obstacles, right? I said, well, let me know, God, if we're inferior, because I don't need to waste my time. I just go get a job at the post office and, go get a house and a white picket fence and give me a wife and just be good. And I said, if we're not inferior, then show me the truth of why white people treat us so bad. Can't be because we're minorities, because the other minorities in America, and for some reason, they just got this bent towards us. So why is that, God? Right? I want to know the truth no matter where it sends me or where it takes me. And that was my prayer. And he answered it. And by his grace, I wasn't afraid to follow his answers. A lot of us get answers, but we're too afraid to respond for the answer. That's why the old folks used to say, be careful what you pray for.
Just might get it.
You just might get it. Right? So I guess that was such a deep, sincere prayer and desire of mine. Fear didn't find its way anywhere close to stopping me from pursuing that. And that's what I did.
Amazing. And just one last question in regards to the Nation of Islam. What are some of the morals and values that you think the black community could learn as far as Minister Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, we are taught that, not to get too far out there, like I say, you got to put on your scuba suit and oxygen tank and all that stuff, but, teach that the black man is God. He teaches the responsibility of the man. He teaches that it's the man. The man is responsible. We're the ones that have to take charge of everything in our community. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us there's no such thing as a no good woman. A woman was made no good by a no good man. Now you really got to think about that, right? That means that there are men, there's always men around women, because there always got to be, because how will we procreate unless there's men and women come together, right? And if the men that are around the women, that can be husband, boyfriend, uncles, cousin, male figures that's somewhere around, if we knew what our God-given responsibility were as men to women, then any one of those men around her would have served their purpose and their role and taken responsibility for her, so whereas she won't have to do some of the things that she's doing because of his absence of being a man, not a male, M-A-L-E. That is male cows and horses and dogs. We're talking about man, M-A-N-E. So the nation teaches us to take full responsibility for ourselves and really to be independent. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, don't ask somebody else to do for you what you can get up and do for yourself, right? And Marcus Messiah Garvey said basically the same thing, right? Rise up, you mighty nation, you can accomplish what you will. So, truth is stands, as Dr. King says, stands on its own, right? You can't attach religion to truth, because then that'll limit it to those that believe in that particular religion, So we have to stand as black people on truth and put these labels aside, because that's, the Bible says that Satan is the author of confusion, and he does that by dividing the people.
And when you watch the daily adversities of America and white supremacy that's prevalent towards black people of color, what do you believe is the solution for black generational wealth and social justice?
Unity. and independence.
Yes, that's the word.
It's real simple. We just got to come together and be independent. Because like I said earlier today, you can come together and don't be independent. We can come together as we do now, and as our condition is now, sister. We come together, but outside forces control us.
I agree.
Right, and that's why finance, we'll talk about it more. You know, it goes hand in hand, and that's part of the Friday theme of the Friday show of the Money Game. Is to understand how financial independence and social independence are really one. They're not separate; they're one. But we've been played. You know who used to say that? DJ Khaled. Don't play yourself, right? We've been played, and there's some of us who know we've been played. But see, since the consequences is so high that they don't want to pay that price. So they sell out.
Do you believe we deserve reparations?
Of course. Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did a lecture 10 plus years ago called Add It Up. He said if you add up all that's owed to us in America, we'll own the whole country.
And that's a very interesting.
And that they're not giving.
How would you define black wealth empowerment? Or what is black wealth empowerment? Black
wealth empowerment, if you take each word, not to get too far into that, but black wealth empowerment is self-sufficiency, is financial independence, and wealth is really not confined to money, right? Wealth is all inclusive. It's a definition. It's a word, so you can apply wealth to anything. He has a wealth of knowledge. She has a wealth of friends, right? So black wealth is black people having all that's needed of wealth to empower ourselves. To be empowered, because you're either being empowered or disempowered. It's not anywhere in between. So if we look around and we see that our community is disempowered, right? Then the question is, what do we have to do to be empowered? Right? And it's not really hard. It's just that we have to have courage.
And you also mentioned that in the black community, there's $1 trillion in spending power, but we lack the knowledge to invest properly. First of all, why do we lack the knowledge to invest if we have the resources to learn?
Well, sister, I think because one, we don't want to learn, right? And then the other one is courage. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said 2 things stop black people, right, from freedom. It's ignorance and fear. You have those of us who aren't fearful, like our brothers and sisters in the hood, right? They're not afraid, generally speaking, as afraid of those ain't in the hood, right? But they're ignorant. And then you have those of us who are intelligent, but we're fearful. So you can't have either one of those. And that's what we have, right? And it may be, and what should happen is those that are fearless should get together with those that have the intelligence. That's why the Bible says, young man for war, he's fearless, right? And an old man for counsel. So he has wisdom, he's knowledgeable. He gets with the young man who's fearless, and they make that thing happen. So that's what we have to do.
So how would you diagnose us investing properly? Like, what are some ways we can invest in and be more progressive in generational wealth?
Yeah, well, sister, my premise is this. Like I said, I've been a stockbroker and all these financial things, and still involved in acquiring the knowledge and implementing that to be wealthy in America. But see, the thing that we have to understand as black people is that there's a big gap. We talk about a generational, we talk about a wealth gap. Well, the wealth gap is just an indication of a gap of knowledge, right? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said a man with equal knowledge can't rule you, right? So the gap, the wealth gap represents the gap of knowledge of wealth and what to do, right? So what we have to do is close that gap. But here's the thing. What causes the gap? See, what happens is we try to get information that's generic or that's mainstream as far as building wealth. And that's good. But there's a big gap that black people have that has been caused by our experience here in America called slavery. So whereas other people, anybody else from on the planet, right, they don't have that big gap, that big deficit, right? Wealth is mathematical. So if my net worth is negative $3 million, I just can't start off at zero just because I want to start off at zero or have the knowledge to build from zero, I got to take care of that $3 million debt or negative in my net worth. See, so that's what we have to do as black people, and that's my position. I come to help us to understand how to close the gap to whereas now we can take this information from these financial gurus, get it, hold it and keep it, and use it for black wealth empowerment. If not, then you got to close the gap. If not, then the gap is just suck and draw from whatever wealth that we're trying to build. And if the gap is big enough, it'll suck up all our wealth, like $1.3 trillion. That ignorance and that fear in that, and I say that we have to have a prerequisite knowledge. We need some prerequisite information as black people in order to take what we get from the gurus and really use it to empower ourselves like others empower themselves with that information. Right? It goes far beyond just the individual in other communities, but it doesn't get past us in our community, individuals in our community. It's because of that gap that I'm referring to. That somebody has to come and bridge that gap, and that's what I attempt to provide.
Can you educate our listeners on just a few different ways you can invest your money?
Well, 3 things, and kind of cover it a little bit later, but you really have to start off, and some of you all might have heard this that are in personal development. Why invest? What's the purpose? You talk to a lot of black people, they'll say, why go to school? For what? So I'm saying, why invest? So the why has to be big enough to overcome all the obstacles that are in front of us to be successful as investing. So we have to start with a big enough why. A big enough why. It all boils down to why. And another word for why is motivation. Right? And the root word to motivation is motion. What's going to cause you to move? What's going to inspire you to move? So we have to start off with a why. And then we have to understand, sisters, this is that we have enough money. $1.3 trillion. If you looked at it and equated that to GDP, gross domestic product of a country, that would be somewhere like the 12th or 13th largest country in the world out of about 196 countries, right? But if we don't understand that, right, then we'll continue to ask God for more money because we broke and poor. And God know better than that. God said, you're not broke and poor. You got 1.3 trillion. You're the 12th largest country on the planet if you bring it together and do something constructive with it, right? So we have to understand that we're not poor, right? Or maybe we are poor, but we're not broke. Poor is a state of mind and condition, so that's true. We are poor, but we're not broke as a people. We got money, right? So we're broke, but not poor. Our spirit has been broken to want to do something for ourselves and unite. So those are just, see, it's really basic. Everybody's, like I said, sister, I know what I'm talking about because I've been doing this for a long time. Most black people are not stockbrokers. Less than 0.5% of stockbrokers are black men. So this is not just theory, in my opinion, right? We don't understand these basic things. We want to get into the cryptocurrency and forex trading and commodity. Negro, you don't even know the basics of money. You don't know what's the importance of circulating a dollar in the community.
And that's very true, because I see how materialism is just like so embedded into the black community. We want to acquire all these things, but we don't leave anything to keep functioning our family. You know what I mean? So we can leave something for our kids to go invest in themselves. People don't understand going to college is an investment in yourself so that you can continue to grow, because no one can take that piece of paper from you. I mean, that's what my mom taught me. But unfortunately, we haven't learned that yet, or maybe we don't want to learn it. I don't know what it is. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses or something.
I would say, sister, to not to beat us up, it's just a condition of slavery.
Yeah.
See, I'm realizing more and more as I continue to try to help us in this area, is that it's becoming clearer and clearer the depth of the effect of slavery on us. You talking about 465, 67 years. I mean, if soldiers come back from war and they PTS or post-traumatic syndrome or whatever it is, what about 400 years? What kind of syndrome we got? What kind of mental conditions we have?
because the Willie Lynch system, I mean, it's still thriving.
Yeah, right.
And they built it a certain way for us to continue to be back. But I hope we continue to be wiser, because I don't think God would allow us to keep overcoming all those adversities and still being here if we didn't have the power, like you said.
Ignorance and fear, those two things have to be eliminated.
Absolutely. And just one last question before the break. Like I just said, we've always overcame adversities. We've always struggled with economic depression. Why is this community so far behind as far as entrepreneurship and investments?
Well, it boils down to the same thing, fear and ignorance, you know.
Because it's possible to own black businesses.
Yeah.
It's possible, like when you go down Harwin, there's so many communities that have their own city. Like you have the Hong Kong area, and then you have the Pakistanis have their stores. Why don't we have that?
Well, you know, sister, I know for a fact is this. See, too often, most times, we pursue things and don't have what I call a comprehensive understanding of what we're getting into, right? Everybody want a Mercedes, but you got to understand what you're getting into when you get a Mercedes. You can't take it to a shade tree mechanic, right? You can't just, but we just focus on just getting a car, getting a Mercedes. See, so that's how it is. We really have to understand, what are you saying when you say that you want to circulate the black dollar in the black community? What are you saying when you say that you want to start a business? See, we just think that this little good idea, and yeah, that's the right thing to do. But you got to get a 30,000 foot view of this thing and understand really what you're saying. And let me just say it to you like this. If you have $1.3 trillion in your purse, right, but you give it to somebody else, right, and you've been giving it to them for 150 years, they've built a whole existence, a whole reality, a whole lifestyle, multi-generational wealth. You think just because you woke up one day and you say, well, you know what, we need to circulate the black dollar and take some of that $1.3 trillion back, you think those people just going to sit by and say, oh, well, they finally woke up. I guess, you know, the party's over for us. Let's get off the music, stop playing. Let's get off the dance floor. You think they just going to just let you take $1.3 trillion out of their purse, out of their pockets, take food off of their table without a fight? I'm talking about a literal fight. Without death? See, we don't understand it to that level. But those that are out there that got that 1.3 trillion, they understand it to that level. And therefore we're at a disadvantage. And I say it like this, I call it like this. Then we end up playing checkers on a chessboard while everybody else is playing chess. You'll never win. I mean, how good of a checker player can you be to win against an average chess player when the pieces move differently and have different power? So that's what we have to understand. So that way, when we go into it, you know you going into what level you want to play this thing on, and what level are you willing to sacrifice. For those people not just going to let you just take 1.3 trillion out of their pocket and just say, oh well, I guess they're just better marketers than me. They're going to fight and kill. Literally, fight and kill.
We're going to finish this conversation, but we do have to go take a quick commercial break. But when we return, we'll finish our conversation with Mr. Darrell Muhammad. You guys are listening to The Blackout, shining a light on black excellence, activism, and culture on Afro Vibes Radio, the #1 online internet radio station, with your girl, Taquila. Hey guys, you're back from the commercial break on The Blackout on Afro Vibes Radio. We are here with Mr.
Darrell Muhammad.
Darrell, I'm sorry, he told me not Darrell, Darrell. It's all good though. But we're back in the studio, so let's go ahead and jump straight into what exactly you do. I know that you really use the social media platform to educate the black community. Tell us about your wealth audio program, 19 Secrets, which is based off of Black Wealth Empowerment Conference Call Series.
Yeah, 19 Secrets is a program that I have. It's an audio program. And it's really a mindset paradigm shifting program. It's not just for money, even though we talk about money. It's really to reprogram our minds for empowerment. So we have, it's 19 hours and we cover a lot of different topics, but it's really, sister, to brainwash ourselves and get rid of the misprogramming or disprogramming that we've been suffering from. Because that's what it is. It's just bad programming. It's like having bad gas, you know. gas mixed with water in your car. It'll run, but it's going to putt and stutter, and it's not going to run efficiently. It's going to tear up your car. So the 19 Secrets, you can get it at 19secrets.com. That's what it does, is help us to understand that we're not looking at this thing right. And one thing that I learned through my professional sales training is that a confused mind never buys. Right? So if our minds are confused, right, if we have all this falsehood in our brains, then how can we make intelligent decisions when it's based on misinformation or disinformation? So that's what the 19th Secret does. It helps us to brainwash our minds. And in our community or in society, brainwashing is a negative thing, but it's not negative, right? It depends on who's washing your brain and with what.
And you also you go Facebook Live. I believe it's called The Money Game.
The Money Game.
And it provides financial literacy. What are some of the topics that you discuss, and how are you using this platform to reach the Black community?
Right. It's entitled The Money Game, the winning rules to the money game, so we as Black people can win and dominate. Right? So that's what it's there. And it's not so much financial literacy. Financial literacy is more of education on finance and money. This is more of mindset, having a wealth mentality. Right? And there's books out there written about it. One in particular is The Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. He doesn't giving you financial literacy advice. He's telling you how your mind is programmed for either financial success or not, right? So that's that's how I approach it, from a mindset, a wealth mindset. And some of the things we have is on Monday is Money Mindset Monday. Start at the top of the week at the top of your body, on your head, your mindset. Then on Wednesday is Tactical Wednesdays. We deal more with tactical stuff, but it's still around mindset. And then thirdly is Freedom Friday, where we talk about how financial freedom and social freedom or social equality is really one and the same, right? And that's what's missing for us as Black people. We have not made the connection, right? Purposely so. We have not made the connection, right? And until we make that connection, we're going to continue to fight these same social battles, because we're the only people who not understand that your financial freedom, you use that to fuel and tool your social freedom.
Yeah. And I was going to say, like you said, it's not necessarily financial literacy, but I'm going to assume maybe the motivation to encourage people to think in a more positive manner when it comes to spending money.
Mindset.
Yeah. Mindset.
Money mindset.
Awesome. That's really amazing. And you also, like you said, you were on a money game and you were educating your viewers on the 3 reasons why they don't win and dominate. What were some of those reasons and their effects? Okay, yeah.
One of the reasons is we don't really consider the possibility for us, right? Some of us think, I'm not an athlete, I'm not an entertainer, that's Beyonce, that's the Kardashians, or just whatever. We don't consider, in the word I want to emphasize is consider. Because some of us, we fantasize now that we can do it, that it's possible for me. But it's not past a fantasy. It's not past a weak effort. It's not past a try. Right? Those that understand empowerment, you don't try something. You don't try to do something. You either do it or you don't. You don't try. Yeah. Right? I don't try to get up out of this chair. Either I'm going to get up out of this chair, I'm not going to get up out of this chair. What is trying? Right? Trying, you're still sitting down. So we have to consider it. Meaning that you have to ponder it. You have to think, how is this possible for me? How is this building wealth? Because I got this against me, this against me, this against me, this against me. Right? And then the flip side is, I do have this, I do have this, I do have this, I do have this. See, so we have to consider, right? We have to seriously consider the possibility is for me. Right? So that's one of the reasons why none of us, or 98% of us, won't win and dominate at the money game. Yeah. The second reason is because we don't understand the basics of finance. Yeah. And I say finance, I mean the basics of money. Right? Remember, we can't just start off, well, I'm gonna go get a degree in finance. I'm gonna go get that. You go to college to get a job. Building wealth it's a job, but it's not a job in the traditional sense, right? Mm-hmm. You're not gonna get paid traditionally, right? So we have to understand that there's basic things of money, Very simply, 3 categories: how to get money, how to keep money, and how to invest money, or how to grow it. See, we heavy on the get money part. That's why I don't do that. There's enough black folks and everybody else talking about how to get money. But unless you know how to keep money and invest it, then by default you don't know anything else to do with it but spend it.
That's true.
Which is really what they want you to do with it, is spend it. Because they understand, see, America and those that understand, they understand the circulation of a dollar.
Yeah.
That's the only thing things can stay afloat in America and prosper in America. Circulation has to happen. If too many people save their money, then that can cause the economy to go down. So they're not trying to teach you anything beyond get more, and spend it. But that's not to win and dominate, and that's definitely not empowerment, right? So understanding just the basics of money, right? Just like you understand you got to breathe to live. You may not know what H2O is or oxygen is and how to break it down and where it goes in your body and how it gets in your bloodstream. You don't know that. You know you better breathe. That's what you know, right? You get underneath water too long, you know you need some air, right? So how to make money, how to keep money, and how to grow money. We don't understand those 3 simple principles. And then you take those and you expound on it, and that's where you put together your personal strategy and things of that nature. And then last and not least, sister, I think is the biggest one of all, we take advice from the wrong people.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even listen to somebody. Not consider. You shouldn't even listen to somebody that has not gone where you want to go. They might have failed. At least they've been there. They aren't where you want to be, right? Or they're not going in the direction that you want to go in. I want to build wealth, but I'm going to ask somebody that ain't trying to build wealth. Never built wealth, or, never been there. And not there now. So let's talk about something that they have done. That they're pursuing.
Because you always have that, well, if I had that amount of money, I would do this and that. And they probably wouldn't even be able to,
that's a poverty mentality.
Be financially responsible.
That's a poverty mentality. Because nobody is poor. I mean, nobody is broke, right? Because you have something. You may not have money, but you have something, right? Mm-hmm. If you have life, that's all that you need to get everything else you want. Is your life, your breath in your body. If God gives you that, then you're wealthy enough to get what you don't have. One of my mentors in network marketing said it like this. He said it, don't ask or don't focus on what you don't have. Right? Focus on what you do have to get what you don't have. See, that's a paradigm shift. Right? I don't have good credit and I don't have no money in the bank. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have to get what you don't have.
Yeah. And elaborate how domination can actually influence the black experience for the positive.
Domination?
Yeah. Wealthy domination, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, when you dominate economically, then you take that domination to determine the outcomes that you desire. I mean, you dominate for what? You dominate for empowerment. You dominate for control. You dominate for independence. You dominate so you can be self-sufficient. See, that's the whole thing about entrepreneurship and being financially free, right? Is that you have more of freedom than you would not have if you didn't pursue it and didn't accomplish it. Right? God has created every creature to be free. Right? That's why you gotta have fences for dogs to stay in or have a chain on them. They'll go. Right? Not that they're waywardly, it's just that that's the nature of all creatures. To roam and feel free, to go where they want to go. They want to go around the corner, they'll walk around the corner. If they don't, they'll go the other way. If not, they'll sit there on the ground. So domination is for what? Because see, like I said back to the beginning, why? Why go through all that? Why go through all that to dominate? Just so you can say, I dominate. But what are you dominating, and what are you dominating for, and who is it benefiting? Right? We don't want to have self-destructive domination because we got that going on now. Right? So it has to be for the positive. And the positive would be to be independent. Right? To have something outlive you. To have something that you can leave for multi-generations yet unborn, so that they can have something that they won't have to continue to start off from scratch. That's really why you want to build wealth. Not to buy cars and not to buy jewelry. You know, it's almost like what they did to Indians. Those are trinkets. So you give up the thing that you need more than them purses and clothes and stuff, which are trinkets.
Yeah.
Meaning they have no true value. And you give up the thing that you need to be trying to pull together, which is your dollars, to get something that is of value.
I always tell people, I feel like if we came together economically, if we couldn't just be on the same level, but probably be better than the standard American society, and I feel like they fear that from us because they know that we're better, so they try to keep that knowledge from us.
Absolutely.
Because they don't want us to be superior over them. That's why they've changed our mind into thinking we're inferior, but we're not. We're not the minority. We're the majority of the world.
Right. Yes, sisters. You know, that's what part of the answer to my prayer was. You know, if we're not inferior, then why do they treat us so bad? Why white folks hate black, just us, so bad? It's because of that. It's because they know our divine destiny. They know who we really are. They know the truth of the black man, especially here in America. Because you got to understand, whatever bad condition we're in now, just understand we're the strongest of those. Because the weakest of them didn't survive. See, so that's why they got to keep their foot on our necks. More than the Hispanics, more than the Asian, because we are the original people of the planet Earth. God made us in His image. We are the chosen people of God. They know that. We just don't know that. They know that God is on our side. They know that their time is ticking and their time is up, not almost up, is up. So that's why Donald Trump's in office.
That's why they're trying to self-destruct everybody.
They know their time is up. Yeah, absolutely.